Hello, welcome back to my channel, Healing 711. My name is Kathy. As I promised before, I wanted to do a part 3 of the parental alienation conversation that we've been having. I just kind of wanted to let people know where I am in the whole process of healing and moving forward. Again, all three of my daughters are teenagers at the moment, so I'm dealing with those things and also the negativity that's usually sent from their dad's house. It's an ongoing thing. Like I said, I did fall into a deep depression in the beginning. I was suicidal, but mostly because I was just so devastated by how the children were treating me. But what I had to learn and understand is that they weren't treating me because they didn't love me and they didn't care about me. They were being manipulated and confused regularly. A lot of that helped me heal and get through some of the stuff. I mean, there's still things that the girls say that are incredibly hurtful, but I do let them know that they hurt my feelings, and then I just let it go because I know where it's coming from. It's coming from a place that is not in their heart, especially if you've spent a lot of time with your children. I mean, if you were separated when they were smaller, I could, I don't know from that perspective because mine were almost all teenagers when he really started keeping visitation from me. The bad talkings, like I said before, was just from day one. But another thing that kind of helped me through is that I just took the experience, and I know it could be so dark and heavy and just so full of sadness. And I decided that I was just going to accept what was, be honest with myself. It's painful. This is something that a lot of people don't understand unless they've personally gone through it. And I knew that I had to keep pushing forward because my kids were with an abuser, someone who abuses other people. I mean, I knew they were never going to be immune to it, but I know it was just a lot less aggressive when I was around because I took the majority of it. Anyhow, I did have to take him to court to get him to stop withholding my visitation. The final time we went to court, he was held in contempt and made to pay a fine. With him, that's like he was a very greedy person, very materialistic person. Money was just top priority all the time. So him getting hit in the pocketbooks, he decided to comply. So I do see my kids weekly. We go week on, week off. We have 50-50 custody, but there's nothing I can do about the bad talk or the negative feelings. At this time, my kids come over for a whole week and they pretty much lock themselves in the room, but I've had to learn to stand my ground because they were so used to me giving in, which actually cost me in the end. But I just kept giving in, and okay, you don't have to come this week, blah, blah, blah. Now it's, no, you're coming over, and if you want to lock yourself in the room for a week, then go right ahead. But the thing is, they're here, and one thing I'm grateful for is now they can see the difference of, or they can make a better connection of my behavior versus my ex's perception of my behavior. I don't know if that makes any sense, but just like what they're hearing is not matching up with what they're seeing. So I think in they're starting to question more things. They're becoming more confused. They've been a little bit here and there, but when you've been lied to for so long, it's going to be rough to learn to accept the truth, especially when you've been lied to by someone you trust. But just knowing that the kids, I don't think most of the kids feel any hate in their heart, but it can be devastating. The words that come out of their mouth, I mean, they're constantly pumped with so much negativity. It's unbelievable at some point, But also another thing is, setting boundaries, because the kids at this point, they feel like they don't have to really respect what I say, and he's diminished my authority completely. He constantly tells them, your mom is this or that. Like I said before, he used to make me seem immature and irresponsible, and that I couldn't handle life because I was a kid, just because I went through one short, a period of time where, things fell apart. There's no room for mistakes. There's no room for mistakes. He has very high standards, even though he doesn't even meet his own standards, but that's part of who they are. Another thing that helped me out, like I was saying before about, it being such a negative and heavy situation, I just took it as a time to get to know myself, like go into those dark, deep places, and just tell myself the truth the whole time. You know what I'm saying? That the abuse and all the words that come with it, it's not real. It's not real. It's all made up in someone else's mind, and it just happens to pop out of their mouth in such cruel and nasty ways. But one thing I just tried to use that time to get to know myself. Being away from my kids, I'm telling you, was probably the hardest thing I've ever had. I've had to deal with a lot of trauma in my life, and I may do a lot more videos on just like family trauma, growing up, childhood trauma. But at the moment, like this is pretty much the hardest thing I've had to do. Being away from my kids, I had to learn how to live without them, because as a mother, I was so used to cooking and cleaning and nurturing and loving my kids, and so many years in a row just doing all of this, and within a 3-year span, everything just collapsed. So, I mean, now, I just keep my mind on rebuilding, constantly rebuilding. I haven't given up, and, and for people who have just walked away, I so understand. It's unbelievable how devastating and painful, just it for someone else to drive a wedge between a child and a parent is just, it's a lot. And for people, and I've done some research and I've read some stories of people who have committed suicide or just go into deep, dark depressions, and I get it. Some of us find that, that last thing to hold on to, and we just pull ourselves out, and it's not an easy task. It is, there's going to be times in between where you're just weary and tired, and you just don't know whether to give up or not. Do you give up on yourself? Do you give up on the kids? Do you give up on the situation? It's always there, but I can't blame anybody for giving up. I can't. It's awful. It's awful. And, and I think it's hard for a lot of people once their kids are away from them. There's usually no contact from the kids, and you're just left there to wonder what they're doing without you, what you're missing, what you're not experiencing with them, and And it's so hard to get back into the life because with him, he'll keep secrets about special events coming up, whether sports or, singing. My children are very creative and they love sports, so he'll intentionally not let me know until it's the last minute, or, he'll tell the kids not to say anything to me, and, he'll have them ask me for money to do their special, whatever they're doing. It's just, it's an ongoing thing, and it's just something I just keep reminding myself every day. It's his way of reaching me through my children. It's sad, it's disgusting, it's heartbreaking, and it's heavy. But, I think in the long run for me, it's worth it to try everything I can to have a relationship with my daughters. Like I said, we're going to start family therapy soon. I don't know how that will turn out. I don't know if it'll help, but I want to do whatever I can. But it's just, I feel like everyone needs to understand that this is something that needs to be recognized, and it needs to be punishable by law, because you're destroying relationships. You are killing relationships. You're killing people. People fall into depression, suicide. I mean, it needs to be recognized as a crime, or, at least attached to domestic violence in some way, because it's not fair to the other parent, whether it be the mother or father. Like I said, all of this is my personal opinion. This is all based on my personal experience, and I just wanted to let people know that, there's no real set stone way of healing. It's just, you have to be willing, if you can carry the weight of, all the negativity until you can find that path to healing. Proud of you. Hang in there. Stand tall. Stand your ground. And for those who decide to walk away, don't be ashamed. Don't be embarrassed. Don't feel like a terrible parent. You're doing the best you can. And the fact that you're walking away says that you can't, you know yourself enough to know that it's time for you to walk away from the pain, and it's a pain that you're not, you can't handle. And it's, some people can deal with a lot, like I said, I've had so much trauma from my past that and that I think it kind of prepared me, which kind of, I don't think it made me better or anything like that, but I just, it was a heavy situation, and I decided to stick through it, and I don't have any regrets. It's painful every time. The kids come over here, I hear the things that come out of their mouth, the deception, the lies, how they're being engaged in the pettiness, and and I just want people to know that there is a way through. And if you're going through this, I haven't personally found any groups or anything like that, because it is, the grief you feel, it's like losing a child almost, but knowing that they're still alive. It's like the grief is unbelievable. And I encourage, if you need that kind of support system, if you don't have a great family support system like I don't, maybe a group setting might help you out. I just did a lot of meditation and reflection and trying to change my mindset about the whole situation, and what was really happening, and what was real, and what was his, and what is the kids, because I do see sparks of my kids' old personality. So for me, I know that this is the right path, because I know I can still find them. in my heart, I have that much hope and that much faith that, something's going to heal for us and it's going to bring us back together. But it's not the same for everybody. I'm just hanging on to that little spark, and I just can't imagine it being more than the 15 months that I was separated from them. I can't imagine people that have been separated for years and years, and I don't know how they've, I hope most people have been able to heal and move forward and maybe even heal their own situations with their kids or family. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of talk about just the process that I've gone on through, to healing and getting my mind in the right place and how I'm moving forward, and hopefully something, I had to say might help you or lead you in a different direction or a better direction, or in a direction that you had no idea existed. But again, I want to thank you, and I wish be sharing some more stories. I think that abuse, it's just the core for so many problems: mental illness, drug addiction, and and it starts in families. It starts, for a lot of people in childhood, and I think I need to touch on some things, and because I think a lot of people have a hard time figuring out, and they keep asking the why, but I've learned to ask what's next. But I thank you again for listening. I wish everyone the best, and I will catch you on the next one, okay? Thank you.